So as we continue to look at the Gospel according to Mark, although he is one of the synoptics, his perspective is different because who is he writing to? His audience is really the Gentile people. So that's why you have Gentiles or Jews, servant or free, right? So Mark writes for the Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles? It's interesting to note that the Gentiles are people who are not Jews. So let's see if we could get a little bit of history, a little bit of culture. The Jews were the strong, untouchable ones. The Gentiles were nobody. I guess you get that in nearly every society, right? People who feel that they are superior than others because of wealth and prestige and power and race and education. And Mark now is here and he's writing for the Gentiles, right? And because he's writing for the Gentiles, you find now he will be showing you Jesus going into Gentile territories and where he should not be going, because Jesus was a Jew and he should have kept the tradition and stay with his people. The Gospel according to Mark was written around AD 70. It's stated that it was written in Rome at the time of the persecution and the destruction of Jerusalem. Now it's important to note that because that gives you the historical background. That's why Jesus came in there and talked about the destruction of Jerusalem. And while Mark was written, they had that, the colonization and all that. So it's interesting to note that. The book Mark then talks about, as I mentioned, the Gentile people. As I mentioned, he's the shortest gospel and Mark was written by John Mark, the son of Mary, and also the apostle Peter, spiritual son. And you will find that in 1 Peter chapter 5. So you look through your Bible when you have your little free time. 1 Peter, you find that in the New Testament. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 13, and you will get the origin of Mark the evangelist. He is also a cousin of Barnabas. You get that in Colossians. So lots of work to do. Not only listening, but you have your little homework as a good teacher. I begin and class isn't finished and I'm giving homework already. Right? Mark is a cousin of Barnabas. You get that in Colossians chapter 4 verse 10, as well as in Philemon chapter 24. Mark gives gives prominence to his ministry, more prominence than when he writes than Matthew and Luke. For example, he presents the miracle stories in Mark chapter 5 and Mark chapter 9 with a vivid account. It is so vivid, it is so important, we could say exciting, that it's almost breathless when you read that account. That in Matthew and the other gospel, Luke, you wouldn't get that. So Mark recounts Jesus, what he did, the time, the incidents. He gives a very detailed account that it is vivid, breathless to read. So with that kind of information, I encourage you to continue reading the Gospel according to Mark, so that you get a good idea of who Mark is. That one of the Gospels, the shortest Gospel he wrote for the Gentiles, so you get a good idea as we continue with our meditation, our prayers, our discussion. Get your little homework so that all will go well. So that's all for now. Until tomorrow, please God.